Hey everyone, and welcome back to Pain Theta. This week I kind of did a lot of cash grid puts, a bunch on Riot, one on JD for about 20, 30 minutes, made $34. I think it was 30, 40% in 30 minutes, so I took some off the table. And then I went at Penn stock. It's a gambling casino stock. I think all these stocks pretty much that I have here are undervalued and I wouldn't mind holding. That's exactly why I want to sell a cash grid put is I'm putting up money saying if it drops below this price right here that I'm pointing at 29, 29, 70.5 or 75, I will buy it at $75 per 100 shares and you're going to pay me X amount of dollars per 100 shares. So the decimal does move here. So this is 150 bucks, 92. Right here to the right is my actual profit of how much I took home. But in total, I'm expecting about $330 this week um, for about $1,300, something along the lines of that, maybe 1,400 or 14,000. Sorry. So really not bad. It's about I think a 3% return, 2.5, but still 2.5% every week is pretty great, and that's what I'm gonna kind of keep pushing for. And I think it's because I find good discounted stock. So this is a diagram, a graph, if you will, of the JD call. And JD is a Chinese tech company. I think they're pretty undervalued. But anyways, so this is where it started out in the morning, about $1. I think I sold it at 92 cents. So I sold it here, and I bought it uh, an hour later. It lost 40% of its value. So I made 40% in an hour. So there's not much more incentive for me to keep it because half of the money I've pretty much made is already made. So it's really me risking 70 or $7,000 to make half my money when I've already made half my money. So I want to take it off the table. It was a quick, 30, 40 bucks, whatever the case may be. But let's go into here, JD. So the reason why I picked JD is because I don't know if you can see, you might have to go further. Um, so you can see this is kind of the support line that I've drew. This, if I had to guess, this was a resistance line. So meaning that every time it went to this point, it wants to go down. It went to that point again, but it broke through. You can kind of see it gap up and gap again. So when it gaps that much, it's, that new resistance line is now a support line. So this was the old support and it kind of reached back to the same support and it bounced right off here. So me thinking I really want to buy this, guess what? The price is 70.7 right on all the way to the right, if you can see that. So me being I would say a smart investor, I look at the charts and I'm like, oh, that's where I want to buy it at because that's exactly where it bounce every single time. It'll bounce from the 70, or if not, I get paid almost in this case $100. I think it was 90, but still, I made so much money so quick. I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna take it off the table and I'm gonna go from there. So right is another one. I've been doing that for about 3 weeks now. Yeah, 3 weeks. It's a pretty consistent one. It pretty much follows Bitcoin. So I am long Bitcoin. I think it's definitely this is pretty similar to Bitcoin's price action. I think it is definitely oversold. From here to here, it's been a crazy down. So I really wouldn't mind owning this long term. They just mine Bitcoin, but their premiums are pretty wild. So you can kind of see here it gapped up. So this was a resistance line, and now it's a new support line when it comes back down to it because it doesn't want to break through what it already established here. So there is some pretty good premium to be made here. In fact, I just sold for 14 cents, so I made I think it was like 85% in 3 days. I really don't want to risk my $2,900. Granted, I do want to own this company. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to risk my initial capital for 15% more. I've already made 85%, so there's really no reason for me to keep this money on the table. And Penn stock, it's another one. Let's see. I think I definitely think it was overbought and now it's oversold. This is the RSI indicator, the relative strength index. So as you can see, the top side of this is being overbought and the bottom is oversold. So as you can see here, it goes here, oversold, here, oversold again. I think that I want to own this company long term. I think that with sports betting picking back up, and this is mainly a sports betting casino in Pennsylvania and Barstool Sports app and other stuff like that. I think it's a good company to be in long term. I think it was overbought, but as you can see, a lot of these companies that I'm picking, they were overbought and now they're oversold. You see, overbought, oversold, overbought, oversold. So I'm very consistent in me picking the same type of company, even though they vary drastically. This is a Chinese tech company, this is a gambling company, and this is a Bitcoin mining company. So obviously they're all very different. And then Chewy, this was last week, overbought again. I sold a cash credit put here, got assigned to it at the bottom, and then sold it at the top. I definitely like Chewy long term. It's just me doing this. I can make like 10. I think I made 10% in a month here. So it really just makes sense to kind of keep this spin cycle going, if you will. I'm not I'm not saying that this will be any I don't think it'll go lower. I just don't think it will go much higher in the short term. It could stay around this little area for a little while, so it's really just me making a few percent a week, and that adds up to, a good chunk at the end of the year. So I think that's all I have for this week. But yeah, so pretty much, everyone says, you know, buy low, sell high. It's really hard to do that, but if you can kind of detach yourself from it and actually do it, I think you'll be a better investor and trader. And I can even go into more in-depth videos later on how to kind of find some of these stocks. So that's pretty much all I have for now. It was a good about $300 profit this week. We'll see how PIN ends up. It's got a few more days to go below 75. I don't think it will. I don't think it will. We'll see if it does. I would love to own it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time.